A surprise election call in the UK has resulted in King Charles and Prince William cancelling a number of events. Patricia Treble joins us now for another royal roundup. And Patricia, the shake-up in Charles and William's schedule is to ensure that there is no distractions during the election campaign. And I understand that this is quite a departure from what Queen Elizabeth has previously done.
Yeah, so royals always scale back during elections, but what was new is that they issued a statement saying this is what's going to be happening. They don't want to do any engagements. They're going to postpone engagements, anything that could possibly overlap with politics. And so you think like Prince William's housing for the homeless. Well, of course, you're talking about a housing crisis. That's going to come up in the election. So all that sort of stuff. But the fact that he had to say it, I think, is a sign that he is different from his mum, right? He was a very outspoken Prince of Wales, and he has to be seen saying he understands the constraints of office. But I'm going to say I have pity for the person who's doing the scheduling because they're being ripped up again. Right. And they've been ripped up so many times this year.
Right.
So.
And we were just talking about Kate's schedule. She's not in the schedule at all.
Nope, she's not in the schedule at all. I don't even think she might. I mean, me doing kind of basic math, I didn't think she would be back until the fall. But yeah, they've completely removed her. And that's what she asked for, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as anyone who's gone through cancer and treatment and preventative treatment, you need the time.
Exactly. And chemo and the recovery from chemo takes a very, very long time. Yeah.
All right. With fewer engagements for William, we found that he was able to go to a sporting event this past weekend.
Fancy that. Football is soccer in Canada. Football in Britain has nothing to do with politics. So he was out there. He's the president of the Football Association, and it was the FA Cup final, and he took George. And they often go together to football matches. And it was lovely seeing the two of them together. And the only sad thing is that their favorite team, Aston Villa, got knocked out like months ago. So we don't talk about that, though.
Okay. Well, that didn't stop them from having a good time.
No. Yeah. Because they got to see all the football stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You bet. So let's circle back to Kate for a second if we can, because despite repeatedly asking for privacy, speculation has once again really ramped up concerning her health. And as Kara just mentioned, her schedule, when she will appear, if at all, this year. And a lot of conspiracy theories are popping up once again.
Yeah, I was talking with other, royal watchers, and I was thinking, is it just me? Like, am I just seeing a lot more coming up? But conspiracy theories, unfounded rumors, kind of what we saw back in February. They're popping up again online. And, it's 2 months since she put out the video saying, she's undergoing preventive chemo, and she was pleading for privacy. And the mainstream media, I'm going to say, has followed the rule. They might talk about when she might come back and stuff like that, but they're keeping everything else is off the table. But social media is doing what social media is doing. And unfortunately, it's quite sad, I think.
Mm-hmm. Still on the topic of Kate, we were talking about this on the show last week. Another portrait of a royal. This time it's Kate. And this time, and again, it's somewhat controversial.
Yep. So the artist is Hannah Izar, who I like. I like a lot of her work. It was for Tatler, the big society magazine in Britain, and it was a portrait of strength and dignity. And I'm going to be honest, the critics were savage. It doesn't really look like Kate. I'm going to say it's a bit bland. But here's the thing. As a magazine cover, that's amazing. It's going to pop on the newsstands, and that's what they want. They want sales.
Mm-hmm. Is that something, I know you've got a history with Maclean's magazine, right? Is that something that they would take into consideration?
Oh, absolutely. You would spend hours upon hours every week trying to figure out what is the best image to drive newsstand sales. And that's the sort of image you would go for, because you're looking at everything else on the newsstand, and this is completely different. Mm.
All right, and finally, a bit of a quiet week for Harry and Meghan, but speaking of photos, a photo taken of the couple just days before the Queen's death is now part of the National Portrait Gallery. Yeah, it's a lovely photograph. It was taken by their good friend, the photographer. His name is Miss-Anne Harriman. And it was backstage at a charity function in September 2022. They were in Britain. They just happened to be in Britain when the Queen's health started to fade. And I think it's lovely. So National Portrait Gallery, of course, Kate is the patron. And it's going to be part of the collection. And he's taken a lot of the big iconic photographs. So if you remember when they announced Lilibet's, she was pregnant with Lilibet, and they were lying on the ground, that was Miss-Anne Harriman. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you, Patricia.